Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and okay, I admit it, strictly speaking this review could be considered a day late, bearing in mind that Portugal did technically pick their Eurovision song as part of Super Saturday. But hey, the results were at like, I don't know, 12:30 in the morning UK time and Portuguese time and 1:30 everywhere else in Europe. Well, in CET anyway, so could you really blame me for wanting to leave this until the day after because I had 4 other songs to review yesterday and this one was so late? Tess, stop making excuses and get on with reviewing the song. Okay, so kind of predictably, I guess, the people of Portugal have spoken, and this year they will be represented by Conan Osíris? Is it pronounced like Osiris, like the Egyptian god, or is it like Portuguesified Osíris? Conan Osiris. If I say it like that, it sounds Irish. I'm going to just call him that until proven otherwise. Conan Osiris and the song Telemóveis, which is presented completely in the Portuguese language. The title means mobile phones, or phones, mobiles. You get the idea with that. Music and lyrics by Conan himself. This is, well, it's an entire passion project on his part, and it sort of shows if you watch that, and I mean that as a compliment, but I have concerns with this song, and I'll elaborate more in a moment, but this isn't the first time I've looked at a Portuguese song and said, my channel is a safe space for people with diverse opinions, okay? Don't get offended if someone doesn't agree with you, because if everyone agreed it wouldn't be a contest, okay? Okay, so to be a bit less subtle about that, well, let's just get on with my review, shall we? As kind of seems to be a running trend with this year, I didn't really know anything about the Portuguese national selection, but then again, I had been told that this song was amongst the favourites, and by quite a wide margin all things considered, but again, until it was chosen I didn't actually get to hear it. So up until I did hear it, I was kind of anticipating some kind of bizarre love child of Amar pelos dois and Occidentali's Karma. That's just the impression that I got, and this song kind of both is and isn't that at the same time. One thing that I'm certain of, though, is that I don't really want to go ahead with this review, because I just know that there's a pocket of nutjob fans that are just waiting for me to say something other than, oh, it's perfect, winner, 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 blah, 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 just so they can scream at me for being an uncultured swine who wouldn't know art if it stabbed him in the gut. So if you're that sort of person, leave! I'm not even going to ask you nicely. This is a balanced review for reasonable people where both sides are taken into consideration regardless of whose song or what song I'm talking about. Live with it, okay? Now, for those of us who are reasonably minded, let's begin. Well, I'll quite happily raise my hands and admit that I actually really like the instrumentation of this song. Much like Portugal's entry last year, I can imagine that I'll be listening to the instrumental of this one quite a bit when I'm working on other stuff. You know, without lyrics, just so I can focus on the music so that I don't have other people's words running through my head when I'm trying to write scripts or whatever. You know how it is. Anyway, I like its atmosphere and its use of unusual instruments in unusual ways. Kind of like, you know, the deliberately untuned string instrument at the start. Yeah, I'm okay with this. Now, next, let's also consider the lyrics. The whole song is kind of an anthem to post-structuralism, portrayed through there kind of not really being a proper refrain, so to speak, so much as just motifs that are visited and revisited over the course of the song. It shows that music doesn't have to follow a set pattern in order to get its point across. And in so doing, it also presents us with an ongoing story that keeps moving, rather than having to go back and repeat a refrain several times in rondo form. It has momentum, which further helps to convey the message in the first place, and that message is a fascinatingly unique one. I won't pretend to be able to completely 100% understand it in full by any means, but I do appreciate what I can understand of it. If nothing else, with a title like Telemóveis, I was concerned that it might just be a basic, oh, get off your phone, you gosh darn kids. But no, it absolutely has more layers and more depth to it than just that kind of basicness. And then there's the live performance as well. This song just kind of is performance art through and through. I don't fully follow what the feathers or the Swiss Army knife hands or the bedazzled psoriasis are meant to represent, but I do get the feeling that they do have symbolism in the context of the performance. They're not just there for the sake of it, they're not there just to look weird. This is, in its own bizarre little way, a very clever song. And I'm absolutely not about to deny that. This is absolutely something that, at the end of the day, only Portugal would even think about sending to Eurovision, and for having that level of nerve, yeah, I applaud that. Bravo, Portugal. However, just like with all of my reviews ever, I intend to look at some reasons why you might not like this song so much, and that is just as valid a point of view as liking it. For one, let's consider the obvious. The high art aspects of this performance can come across to some viewers as just being downright pretentious when all's said and done, especially to viewers who don't understand the lyrics and have nothing else to connect them to the song's higher meaning. There are people who will look at this song and just see weird nonsense for the sake of it, rather than intelligent or meaningful art, and with something as experimental in style as this song, that was always going to be inevitable. Not everyone's going to understand it. There's also the strangeness of the instrumental itself, particularly the stylistic choice of using a deliberately out-of-tune stringed instrument for one of the hooks, leading to some weirdly dissonant chords in some places. Some people just aren't going to like that because it's something that is traditionally taboo in musical composition because of how dissonant it can sound, and probably because it can damage the instrument depending on how it's done. I don't know. In that sense, it is only natural for people to be resistant to it on first hearing if they don't expect it. It's a natural reflex to any musician. And then, put the whole package together, and you've got a whole song that is weird to listen to and weird to look at and weirdly original in meaning. That doesn't mean it's bad by any means, but when presented on the Eurovision stage, it's going to be kind of hard to pick a single moment from the song to remember and hold on to when it comes time to vote, unhelped by the song's anti-structuralist lyrical formatting in the first place. To me, the most memorable part is the instrumental breaks that come up every now and then, and that's what helps me to remember how this song goes, personally at least. But that means that the message is a little bit lost on me because I can't get a good grip on the lyrics or the story, and since most of Europe doesn't speak Portuguese, again, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for this song to be fully understood, but as Salvador proved 2 years ago, that's nothing that can't be overcome. I kind of don't really want to bother with scores out of 10 here because, again, I just know that there are some people watching, still for some reason, who will deliberately take exception to whatever I say, no matter what I say. Well, to hell with it, 7 out of 10, live with it. Granted, that's only a 7 for the moment. There's room for that to change over time the more I listen to this song. I expect that to go up, to be honest. I like the instrumental for sure, but I'm gonna need more time to fully process the lyrics and the live performance and basically everything else about this song. There's something about the overall atmosphere of the whole thing that kind of bothers me in a way that I can't articulate, and I think it's just that knowledge that, because it's such a high art experience, it's going to have those crazy psycho stan fans who can't take criticism of any kind, and that kind of ruins the experience for me. It's harder to like a song organically when your opinion is being held at gunpoint throughout, you know? And as for the technical side, I'm going to be bold and say 9 out of 10. It doesn't get a free perfect score just because it's art, or just because it's a Festival de Canção winner or any of that. There is a lot of stylistic magic to this song, genuinely, that I do approve of, hence such a high score. The song sets a goal for itself and pursues it in an incredibly unique way, the likes of which we don't really see at Eurovision very often, and I do respect that much. My only cause of hesitation is the question of, well, to what extent the song's anti-structuralism works with versus against conveying its final message, as well as whether or not the instrumentation, particularly the string instrument I keep bringing up, enhances the atmosphere in an hourly pleasing way, or if it's just present for symbolism at the expense of all else. So please, I do have a degree in this particular subject. Trust me when I say that I've given it careful thought, okay? For now, how is Portugal looking in the long term, though? Well, I suppose I'm obliged to say that over the past couple of years, they have been improving over the years before. So specifically, ever since they came back in 2017, they've kind of been on the up and up. I personally still don't really enjoy Amar pelos Dois on a personal level, but that song seems to have done for Portugal kind of what Euroband did for Iceland in 2008. They've broken something in Europe's perceptions in a good way, because that then allows the country in question to step in and do its own thing unashamedly, and to be given a fair shot to do so in return, rather than just being brushed off. Because, really, this and O Jardim, especially, come to think of it, would not have been given the time of day at Eurovision as recently as, say, 5 years ago. People would have ignored it as weird Portuguese stuff, rather than actually giving it a fair chance. The fact that people are willing to give it that fair shot now shows that RTP must be doing something right, so fair's fair there, I suppose. But is Portugal going to qualify with this? Oh, I feel like it could swing violently either way. Either people are really going to engage with the song's artistic merits and get behind it in their droves, alongside the juries who will appreciate how artsy it is, or people are going to really not understand it and leave it behind. I can see the song qualifying and doing fairly well in the final when all is said and done, but just as easily I can kind of imagine a future where it gets left behind in the semis because people couldn't handle its weirdness, or because they found it to be too overbearingly pretentious. Like it or not, dear friends, this song is not a safe qualifier by any stretch of the imagination. It's a total wildcard in reality that could go as easily one way as the other. Still, how do you personally feel about this song, assuming you're going to be polite about your opinions, not just say, "You're wrong because I like it"? I want to hear your actual thoughts, not just random screamings. So as ever, comments, keep it civil. Poll in the iCard, you can't really be mean in that, you can just express your opinions. Let me know. I do thrive on hearing what people think, because ultimately, your opinions could inform my opinions. I might appreciate the song more if you show me what I'm looking for. Just a thought. In the meantime though, Conan and his backing dancer and the whole Portuguese delegation and everyone involved with this piece of art, I do wish you the very best of luck for when you hit the stage in Tel Aviv. See you in May.